and lost it.
Hesitated right there, and that's, I think, what cost him. See him here trying to cross over the smaller defender, and eventually.
So nothing like Joel Embiid trying to go to the rack like he's God Sham God, right? Like with this amazing handle. It's just that is everything that's wrong right now with the Sixers. And I'm not saying he shouldn't have gone strong. If he shot into three, people probably would have bitched. But like, look, that's just a quick drop in on the Sixers season. Hats off to Philadelphia fans. Only in Philly, like 15 minutes before, Cooper DeJean and some of the Eagles were at the game, and the place, like the lid goes off cheering for the Eagles and their success in their Super Bowl. And like 10 minutes later, they're booing the shit out of Joel Embiid. Tell them to hit the bricks. But that is, hey, we boo because we care. Another basketball thing I saw last night. I've been really enjoying watching the Big 12 a lot of the times because, I call the games and I work on that Big 12 show, but also like it's become like a fun league. And what Kansas State is doing is really out of control. I mean, Jerome Tang is like, he's like a preacher, part basketball coach, part preacher. He's got like a lot of studs on his team. I mean, Doug McDermott, the little guard, is coming around. Obviously, you got Coleman Hawkins, who's one of the best gets out of the portal. The only problem with Coleman Hawkins is that everybody knows he's getting paid $2 million. And so there's kind of like a target on his back, but that has sort of subsided. David Gasson is the reigning player of the week. He's like, the guy's like a deer at 6'9", 6'10". He's like the best athlete on Kansas State. And last night they beat Arizona at home. Again, the spread, by the way, was 3.5. And I saw that, and I know hindsight, people were like, who cares, Pete? But the spread was 3.5. And I was like, I need to call my friend Jimmy Bell, who's like kind of a gambling degenerate, and just tell him, hey, you need to bet Kansas State. They're going to win. They're at home. They're a 3.5-point dog. They're piping hot. Arizona, it's just like a weird game for Arizona, who has been, by the way, unbelievable in the Big 12. Like if you're Arizona, like this loss, it's like, okay, we learned from it, whatever. But I didn't do that because I don't want to like compromise. Like, I don't know. I didn't have any inside knowledge on the game, but that was just like, that's one of those things where I'm like, why am I going to do this? But I really like, I saw that coming. And part of the thing about Kansas State is their fans. I mean, they certainly chewed me up and spit me out last week for the Armadillo Assassin, which, by the way, was mentioned on ESPN. So the Armadillo Assassin, anybody that missed it, Brandon Housen hits like a couple huge threes last week. I call him, instead of the Amarillo Assassin, the Armadillo Assassin, which was like a funny, honest mistake. Like, yeah, I wish I could do it over again and have said Amarillo Assassin for sure, because that's the guy's nickname, and that's what you want to convey, the truth and the facts. But I got it wrong. They got to own it. I got it wrong. And it's been celebrated now. I mean, I talked to Jerome Tang last week. He was breaking my balls about it. They have T-shirts that say Armadillo Assassin. And over the weekend, my play-by-play brethren, Rich Hollenberg and Fran Fraschilla, who's been a guest on this show and who I've worked with, they're talking about Brandon Housen in the second half because, of course, Kansas State is winning again, and why not talk about the Armadillo Assassin? So they're like, man, he's playing hard. Oh, like an armadillo. It's almost like they planned it. And then Rich said, shout out to our boy Pete Sousa. I was like, wow. I've already gone on a Big 12 radio show and talked about it. It's really funny. People are like, you should go with it. I am going with it, but here is a safe space for me to complain a little bit. I'm like, Jesus Christ. It's just like kind of a reminder of how I screwed up. But, we're all insecure and have our stuff. It is kind of a fun deal. Thank you to Mark Neely for not saying anything about the Armadillo Assassin last night. Trust me, I'm checking this dude's stat line. I'm like, is he going to go off again tonight? Like, I think we could kind of shepherd this Armadillo Assassin stuff, but it was an amazing environment. And I do want to take this time to, give props to ESPN and just sports broadcasting. We did it yesterday. I want to do it again. So, if you've been to a game at Bramlage Coliseum, they call it the Octagon of Doom for a reason. When that place is humming, it is humming. And when they're playing well, it's out of control. And they, late in the game, if they go on a run, they'll call a timeout and they'll play like this Sandstorm song, right? So this is late in the game. Okay, they were on a crazy run. Scotty, crank this volume up if you can. But this is like really good work by the producer to kind of, because you're supposed to go to a break here. Listen to Mark Neely, the play-by-play guy. I think he lays out for about like 50 seconds. All right, check it out.
We have 2 minutes to go. K-State with the ball up 2. McDaniels underneath Gasson.
Beautiful execution. They ran a good amount of clock. Tommy Lloyd's going to get a timeout.
Bramlage Coliseum coming apart at the seams right now. Trying to pull off an upset of 13th ranked Arizona. A 6-0 run here for K-State.
And Mark, let's take a look at this last play. A little misdirection, back screen, no communication between Caleb Love and Carter Bryant, and they end up with a chippy. Great execution by KSU, and the student section is feeling it.
Two teams that come in playing high level.
Okay, now young broadcasters, Pete Souza, broadcasters anywhere, that is a reminder of the art of laying out. Like, it doesn't always have to be a game-winning shot, right? It doesn't always have to be a walk-off home run. Like, sometimes you can lay out in the middle of the game while you're on the air. Like Swingler, what did you think of that? As somebody who calls games, like, first of all, what an atmosphere, right?
Yeah, that was awesome.
What an atmosphere! Like, we haven't seen that at Baylor in a little bit this year for sure.
You weren't in the building when Kansas was here a couple weeks ago. That was about that level. Yeah, it was.
I'm a prisoner of the moment right now.
But yes, very, very cool. And here's the thing: that's what makes college sports so fun, and why some people prefer college athletics to professional. Is because there are way more environments like that where there are traditions. Like, those students know that song's coming. They've already got the lights out. They are ready for it. Like, that's what makes college athletics so fun. So a great way to represent the game and the moment. I totally agree with you.
And that's a team too. They were dormant. They were left on the side of the road like a week and a half ago.
Until they got a pep talk from Scott Drew.
There you go.
Scott Drew apparently used all of his mojo for the Wildcats instead of for the Bears.
Ago, I forgot about that. That's right.
They are undefeated since. So, reminder for those that don't know, Kansas State lost to Baylor. They were doing very poorly. Last team in the conference. Scott Drew goes into their locker room after their game. Of course, Jerome Tang coming off his staff a few years ago. Scott Drew apparently gave them some kind of pep talk to say, hey, there was that one year we were 2-8 in Big 12 play, and we ended up going to the NCAA tournament and making a run. You guys have got this, blah, blah, blah. They are undefeated since.
And apparently tears were shed. It was like an emotional
scene. They are undefeated since. The proof is in the pudding.
How about it? All right, we're coming back with Tony Hayden talking about Bob Knight. Stay with us. Pete Souza Show presented by Slovacek.